Hello, welcome to a longer, more rambling video to explain some of the advantages of the Odyssey clutch hub. This video will focus on the axle. Now, we have had a few people being quite surprised that we've gone for different sized bolts on the two ends of the axle. Now, first of all, let's have a look at it. As you'll see, it's chromoly, it's heat treated, and instead of having the traditional hole all the way through for the resistance mechanism, with our new resistance mechanism design, all we need is this tiny little flat. Obviously, not having a big hole through the middle of the axle means it's a lot stronger. Now, we've also maximised the size of the axle wherever we can. So on the non-drive side, which is likely to be the side where you do the most peg grinds and give it the most abuse, we've been able to go for a full 17mm chromoly axle with a 14mm female bolt going in. Now, it's pretty obvious that this assembly here, when it's tightened up against a peg with a dropout in here as well, is a lot stronger than just having a 14mm axle with a thread on the outside running through all the way. Because obviously the thread weakens it and the length weakens it. Having the shortest length possible at 14mm and the rest at 17 makes it as strong as we can possibly go. Now, on the drive side, it's a bit more difficult. For this hub, we've used the existing normal, standard, age-old engagement thread for the driver. This is an existing thread with existing tooling, so it was quick and easy for us to do, and it kept the price very reasonable. But a limitation of that drive is the size of this hole in the middle. Because of that, the axle at this end could only be 16mm. Well, if you put 14 into 16, you obviously only got 2mm of wall left, and that's one each side. It's just not enough. So on this end, we were forced not to do a full 14mm bolt. But we still wanted it to be stronger than a male 14mm axle like you find on most hubs. So what we did was use our press-on collar design, which obviously means no threads on the outside of here to weaken it, and 16mm is still a lot bigger than 14. The collar then slides on and has a 14mm nice smooth bore to engage a dropout, and then we put a 3/8 inch bolt just like we use on our front hubs and the G Sport front hubs. Now again, because this bolt only has to be engaged, only has to have sticking out enough thread to go through the peg or a drive side hub guard if you have one such as the G Sport Uniguard, that's a very short length. If you imagine trying to snap a pencil with your fingers, if you put your fingers very close together, it's much harder to snap than if you spread them apart. So over this short length, 3/8 inch is plenty, and is still a lot stronger because of the 16mm here. Is still a no thread on the outside, is still a lot stronger than a traditional male 14mm axle. So that's why we did all that. I hope it makes sense and you'll enjoy it. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.